Should you go see Rise of the Beasts? Yes, definitely. In my opinion, this was the best live-action Transformers film so far. The story was the most coherent and memorable to me. However, if you think too much about it, you will find a ton of things that don't make sense. I'm going to talk about those things, but seriously, go watch this movie and support the production of more Transformers movies in the future. The action was fun, and I welcome the new ideas. I know we Transformers fans can be quite critical and picky, but at the end of the day, I am happy we have this brand new Transformers story in our hands. This video is going to be very spoilery, so run while you still have the chance. Like, get out of here, see the movie, then come back, okay? I saw this movie twice, once with my partner on a Thursday, then with a group of friends on a Friday. I'll share our shared thoughts and nitpicks, while a close friend of mine draws a character from the movie. Let's start with the things we really liked. There were no Decepticons but a new faction, the Terracons who serve Unicron, like the Terracons of Transformers Prime, but they are not mindless zombies. We have a badass new villain, and the first glimpse we get of him is terrifying, as his eyes burn through the shadows. We were bouncing in our seats to see his collection of insignias from the boss he killed. Scourge was brutal and cool, and when he transformed into a truck, oh, we loved the badges right there on the front. The fights were quite exciting. My partner pointed out that we didn't have the shaky cam that some movies do, which is just awful. We had nice cinematic shots where we could see what was going on for the most part. Sometimes it was fast, but otherwise, with the characters being different colors, it helped us figure out who was who. Not like the grey robots smashing into each other in the Bay movies. Like the splash of pink on Nightbird was just enough color so that my eyes could keep track of her. And let me say, Nightbird was a treat to me. I was just admiring Nightbird the whole time, thinking this was the coolest interpretation of her yet. I loved the wings on her back that made her more suited to her name. I did like the designs for the most part. I liked all the beasts and how metal mixed with fur and feathers in just the right amount. We don't know exactly what they are made of or if they are techno-organic. We have little information on their species, but my favorite was Airazor's blend of feathers and metal parts. Unicron's design though was just That was the best looking Unicron yet, and when we laid eyes on him we got so excited. That was a huge improvement from the original cartoon. The blades sliding out, the sounds, the voice, it was scary. And the way the servants communicated with him, how the scene faded away, and Scourge was left standing in front of almighty Unicron. That was epic. I know the story and plot matters, but seeing Transformers portrayed so epically makes me so happy. More things we liked were how big the Maximals actually were. They weren't just small animals. Airazor was actually massive and Cheetor was way bigger than a car. Oh, and more on Airazor because she was my favorite. We liked how her beak broke apart and moved as she talked. It looked way better than just a beak opening and closing. I was obsessed about how she could breathe fire and sharpen her feathers like blades. And one of my favorite scenes was when she got corrupted and all those spikes came out and made her look feral. When it came to the humans, we were happy that the focus on them was limited. I admit that Transformers fans often want a pure robot movie not even on Earth, which might not be what non-nerds want. I'm a little out of touch with what people who aren't fans want to see. I'm one of those people who would go crazy if all the characters of a Transformers movie were robots and they had deep stories and emotional conflicts amongst themselves. Like always, the robot versus robot scenes were what interests me. And the movie did provide more of that than the Bay movies. The Bay movies had huge stretches of pure human life. Humans starting college, making friends and getting dates, bullying, working jobs, family life cringe. Where do I end? This movie kept it much shorter, interrupting it often enough with robots that I didn't get bored. There was time for bots to face off and kill each other. Maximals and Autobots versus the Terracons. In my opinion, the Bumblebee movie still focused so much on the family life of the human main character. We were happy that Noah and Elena both contributed to the victory but weren't the sole ones. It was a team effort truly that sent back Unicron and saved Optimus. Elena was helpful for finding the keys and recording the codes, but she wasn't a love interest. She got to be an important character. Airazor asked her what her name was and if she wanted to lead the whole team to the second half of the key. I just liked how Elena was put on a higher pedestal at that moment. I was really surprised that they referenced Master Force of the design of the power suit Noah got at the end. What an obscure show to take inspiration from. Of course, I could see a lot of Transformers Prime influence in the show, like with RC being an agile, flipping, handstand motorcycle, Unicron's servants emerging from formations, Bumblebee's death and resurrection was much like the Season 3 finale, and the final tower was reminiscent of Darkmount, and just how the Terracons were servants of Unicron. G1 and Beast Wars, of course, were influences, but hey, funny that they made Scourge the main servant. I like that more than using Galvatron or Cyclonus. I mean, Scourge is a more badass name than Cyclonus. Just imagine though, if Scourge had the same facial hair and pink nails. This was a very Bayverse looking villain, mostly grey. I was okay with it since the rest of his team had colors, and Scourge looked quite scary with the Michael Bay fire behind him. Other things we enjoyed were the brutal robot deaths, like for all of the Terracons. We liked the scapula monkey Scourge had, the lack of sexuality in the movie, Stratophere's mustache, RC skating on her wheels, the start of the movie that established a darker tone, and how the friendship between the robots and humans was established as they helped one another. Now, here are the confusing bits and some negative things in no particular order. We were begging for Bumble death, but it was obvious they were going to TFP Season 3 finale him back to life. But that's us. Still, you know that of course Bumblebee gets the magical resurrection, but not a character like Airraiser. It just really makes it unclear when a robot is truly dead and why they are dead. Ape Guy at the start dies to Scourge, Bumblebee doesn't. Mirage also survives far worse damage than Ape Link, so when a movie does this, the plot armor is blinding. There are really confusing plot issues to go over, like when the Maximals teleported to Earth, they left Unicron and his servants behind. So how did the servants find them on Earth and appear right after the first half of the key fired a beacon? How did they get there, but not Unicron? Like just, how did they find Earth and travel there? We had a serious issue with Mirage and how he was just super special and could do anything. Why can he transform into anything and just detach all his body parts and move them around unattached to anything? How did he transform into a garbage truck? Where did that trailer come from? And how can he be blasted to bits, fall apart to pieces, and survive? How can he make himself into a Master Force looking power suit complete with a visor? Where did he all go? Because this suit looks pretty small. Where are all Mirage's wheels? His organs? Because his body fully disappears in that scene. Why can humans continuously repair alien Cybertronians using spare car parts when realistically, the aliens have their own organs and run on Energon? It just does not make sense. Mirage having holograms is fine, but he is surprisingly overpowered. He was the only one who displayed those abilities. Moving on, there are many robot characters you just know nothing about their personalities, like Rhinox and Cheetor. Rhinox was given so little attention, I don't even remember if he said anything, and I saw this movie twice in a row. The second watch, I tried to see what Rhinox's maximized form looked like, and I saw it for a split second before the scene changed. The movie really did not give you any Rhinox. His spotlight moment was roaring at the camera. The supporting Autobots, RC, Stratosphere, and Wheeljack don't do much in particular either. They're really just a support for battle or transport, but Wheeljack does really come out of nowhere. He appears when they all arrive in Peru, and doesn't help very much. Also, I have something to say about him in particular. I speak for me and my partner and friends. Wheeljack is sin. Those lips and glasses, please, why didn't you pick a different name for this Autobot? Why did you have to hurt Wheeljack's image in this way? He has suspenders. Okay, moving on. Basically, the main robot good guy characters were Mirage, Optimus, Optimus Primal, and Airraiser. So people unfamiliar with who the Maximals already are don't get to learn many new Transformers. Noah the Human you get to know well, but we found it took a while for us to like him. For the bad guys, oh man, so we have Scourge, Nightbird, and the yellow one. I swear that because I missed his name the first watch, I paid attention in the second watch just to learn his name. They did not say it. Gosh, I swear they did not say it. We had to look up his name just today. So this guy here, the yellow dude, who was pretty cool, say hello to Battletrap. We'll introduce you to him because the movie sure didn't. And I don't know why, because Scourge told us who Nightbird was. Another thing that doesn't make sense is that the designs of the Maximals do not change when they get to Earth. They are perfect robot versions of Earth animals despite having not been to Earth yet. Cheetor is a perfect cheetah, and I want to know why the movie chose Peru of all places as a location. Your main cast are African animals, why not make the second location in Africa? It's weird to have the gorilla, rhino, and cheetah living in South America. You might as well feature South American animals like a jaguar for Cheetor. I know part of the movie was actually filmed in Iceland too, because Peru wasn't dire and exciting enough for the finale. But you know, Africa has mountains too. It didn't have to be Peru. Minor nitpicks friends had include things like the size of the key not looking consistent, Optimus seeming very hostile and not like an experienced leader, the origins of the Maximals and Terracons not being well explained, and who is creating the hologram of their battle plan near the finale. And why, oh why, must every movie end with Optimus narration? We also wish they had just said the Terracons were infused with Dark Energon instead of Dark Energy, but that's just because we're Transformers Prime fans. It's very surprising that this giant underground city had never been discovered by anyone else in all the time it's been there. I think anyone can come up with many nitpicks, and for some people, all this ruins their experience of the movie. It didn't ruin mine. I was totally fine watching it a second time because I liked the designs and the fight scenes of the robots. My partner was right, the scenes were cinematic and I could actually keep track of who was fighting who. I loved the Terracon bad guys and how the Maximals looked and moved like their real animal counterparts. I think a lot of good research went into this. The more I think about the movie, the more nitpicks I can come up with. But just sitting and watching it was an enjoyable time. It was the first time I left the Transformers live-action movie happy and hyper. It wasn't too long of a movie, it didn't drag out like the other movies did, that made me hope it would be over soon. I'm recommending this to my non-Transformers fan family. I know they won't overthink it, they won't care about things like Mirage being able to do what he wants. I think they'll like it. And so that's it, that's my little review of the Transformers Rise of the Beast movie. Go give it a watch, and I hope you like the art in this video.